Mobile Tech RX, the app that helps you make more money.
Don't forget to grab your Magnatech mat, available at most PDR tool distributors.
This is PDR Tool Time, and I'm your host, Daniel Grom, along with Vince D'Alessandro, Hudson Tanzi, and John Renstrom. Hey guys, how are you today?
Super.
Awake and dressed.
Actually, I'm not super. I feel like crap.
This is episode 244, and we have an action-packed episode for you guys today. And we're going to start it off with what's going on this week with you guys. How's your week been?
Dense.
Dense?
It's been full of dents.
Dense.
And I'm going to end it with an RV this week.
And dent tools.
Like you're fixing dents in an RV?
We're going to do all the compartment doors. We cannot believe they actually accepted our bid on that.
Wow.
Compartment doors?
Yep.
So I get this guy brings in a hood for a barbecue, and this is an $1,800 hood for a barbecue. Just the hood, and he dented it, right?
Is he from Texas?
I don't know. He's a builder. He had lots of money. So he drops this thing, and I'm like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. And he goes, and it's double walled, right? And he's like, go ahead and drill. I'm like, all right, whatever. Just drop it off over there. And I sat on that thing for 3 weeks, and I didn't even touch it, right? And so he comes in today, and I see him, and I'm like, oh, God. I hate this. I go walking out, and I go, I'm sorry, I haven't even touched this thing. And he goes, thank God. And I'm like, why? And he goes, my house burnt down. Oh, no. Okay. He goes, yeah, there's no barbecue anymore.
Wow.
And I'm like, okay.
Is that from like the fires?
Yeah.
Or?
Yeah. His house burnt down.
Well,
oh my God.
What was he going to do with the hood?
I don't know now. It's just, he turned it over and make it into a planter of all, I don't know.
Yeah, at least he doesn't have to pay Daniel to fix the hood for a grill he doesn't
or a grill that doesn't exist. He said his Ferrari burnt up in the fire, and the only thing left were 4 carbon fiber discs standing straight up. That was it.
That's harsh.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's hard. Vinny, how was your week?
Oh, pretty good. Just we're working hard over at Anson right now, trying to get their new website up. And I mean, when a lot of people don't know this, but the website for Anson has been lacking some oomph throughout the years, right? No one knows that at all.
No,
right?
We haven't noticed.
Really? That's why I just call you directly and order my stuff.
Right. Well, you and like 10,000 other people. So we're trying to eliminate some of that and actually get them to order online and have a good search engine experience and all that good stuff. And that is in the works, and hopefully that'll be launching by December 4th. So,
okay, let me stop you right there. So now that people know that you work there, are you getting all your friends calling it straight to you to order?
I do have that a lot. The funny thing is a lot of people are asking for Cowboy Vinny, which I think is freaking hilarious. And then if you ever go into Anson, there's like PDR Tool Time, old pictures of us sitting around, like with myself, Mike, John, Hiley, and Daniel. And they're like, oh, there's the cowboy. It's pretty funny.
Are they from Brokeback Mountain?
Why does everyone associate cowboys with gay Brokeback Mountain already?
Because that movie ruined it.
It pretty much did. But anyways, I thought Urban Cowboy would have ruined it, right?
Yeah, I did too.
But you guys can't see my appearance right now, and it's going to be kept secret. These boys see it, but the next installment of Cowboy Vinny, we're working on that right now. So
he's looking mighty fine.
Oh gosh,
mighty fine.
All right, so we have a special guest coming on, and before we have him coming on, I'll share a fun story that probably some of you guys can relate to that happened to me this week. Did an estimate for a customer paying cash. So when someone's paying cash, he's an older retired gentleman, and I'm trying to help him out. So I go, look, you got 8 inches of damage here. I'm going to act like these 2 inches don't exist. right? That saves them.
I use
But don't
that
bum.
story a lot.
Okay.
That's what she said.
That's what she said.
Anyways, like we get to like 2 huge dents on his Lincoln Navigator, and it's like it comes out like I'm like, look, for $950, I'll take care of it, right? Just trying to help the guy out. And he's like, okay, I'll think about it. I'm like, all right, just get back to me. He comes back and he's like, okay, let's go ahead and do it. I went ahead and filed with insurance, so I'll do it now. And I was just like, what? You filed with insurance? He's like, yeah. So they're just going to pay for it. I'm like, well, sir, if you're filing with insurance, then we have to do a full estimate. He's like, and this guy went from 0 to 100 really fast. Like, so you're telling me just because I'm using insurance, you're going to charge me a lot more, blah, blah, blah. And like, I go, first of all, you could stop right there and not put words in my mouth because I'm not going to let you do that. You don't know where I was going to go with that, but I was going to let you know I'm a small business. I use this business to provide for my family. And what I did is I ignored a lot of damage and didn't charge you for it. And now you're telling me you're going to the insurance company and you're going to get paid a lot more for it. And that's money out of my pocket as a small business.
Wow.
Oh, I didn't think of it that way. I'm like, yes, sir. I'm going to be completely frank with you and honest. Is, well, can we just pretend that I didn't mention the insurance and you just still fix it for $950?
What does it matter to him?
And I'm just like, yeah, whatever, man. And I didn't tell him whatever, man, but in my head, I'm like, whatever. I'm like, yeah, I'll still keep it. When do you want to get it done? So I went and fixed this guy. And like today, I fixed it. He was happy with it. And he's like, I gave you an extra $100 because of how good of a job you did. I'm like, wow, thanks. I could have made like easily if I would have charged for everything insurance.
Here's what you should have done. Well, sir, if you
2,000?
would have told me that to begin with, I would have waived your deductible and you wouldn't have had to pay that. And
no, the dude did the photo claim. He took photos of it, sent it into his insurance, and they sent him a check. That is how it went.
Yeah.
Well, enjoy your Carfax, jackwagon.
yeah.
So I was so livid, and I was like, whatever. At the end of the day, I was there for 2 hours, and I made $950. Okay, I can't complain about that, right?
Yeah.
Nor should he. When you left those little like low spots and like didn't color sand or polish and just left some texture, right?
Yeah, pretty much. So
when those other inches that you didn't count at first are still
they're still there.
Yeah,
right.
I was very. It's funny. You guys just heard our guest. If you his name and we're going to tell you if you know his voice, you know him. Legitimately used to have this one guy who was like one of those like willing and dealing car dealers. He'd be like, hey man, his name was Boyd. Boyd was his name. He's like, hey man, can you go just make it a little better for me, man? And like that voice. And I'm like, yeah, it's gonna be $100 to fix that. And he's like, oh come on, man, like do me a favor, like $50. Well, okay, cool, I'll do it for $50. I fixed half the dent. I fixed it. He goes, I can still see that it's there. I'm like, yeah, you wanted to pay me half the price, so I fixed half the dent. And he got pissed. The dude died a couple years later, but so that
of throat cancer.
Yeah. Anyways, guys, long story short, short story long. We got a guy coming on today. His name's Ian Cordell. Cordell, is that how you pronounce your last name?
just don't call me late for dinner, man. You can call me whatever, but you're pretty darn close. You're doing all right.
Okay. Ian, he is with Mobile Tech Shade. He is the one who has provided shade for my business for the past 5, 6, I don't know how many years. And
oh man,
he has made how long? How long have you been doing it, Ian?
You know how Ian provides me shade? He stands next to me.
Right?
It's a straight eclipse.
Just never ask him to be a roommate.
Oh, why is that?
I will love you.
I made that mistake.
Never been loved before.
Those are not pillows. Those are not pillows, Ian.
All right. So here's the story on that. What can you complain when it's free when you're not paying for the room? 1, okay, and 2, dude. At night, I get lonely, and we're in the same bed. Yes, the same bed. There was no section between us. I'm a big guy. I need my space. And, in the middle of the night, after we had ate a delicious meal, what was that place? It was like the beef heel or something.
Yeah, it was nice. It was a good place.
I'm surprised he was still in the bed after all that meat eating I was doing, for 1. And 2, about 2 in the morning, I don't remember this until the next day. Now I cherish it. But in the next thing he tells me, he goes, dude, you were a little scary last night, bro. And I'm like, why? And he goes, man, you put your arm over me. And it's like, dude, that's what
he was snuggling up on me, man.
Wake up, and she's like, dude, she's like, Ian, I can't sleep with you, man. It's like, it's horrible. I mean, you push me out of bed, I got this big ham hock laying on me.
And I'm sitting there like a scared deer, I'm like shivering. I'm like, oh, please, don't hurt me.
How long ago was this?
Where were we? I don't
you
even
can stay with
remember.
me anytime, buddy.
I think you were down here in Texas. You were over in Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was in
Dallas.
Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, Mega Media.
that was Brokeback Mountain.
Media.
Yeah.
Mega Media 3, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
Well,
good Lord.
And I understand because, Daniel, I've roomed with Daniel for years now, and he's like a fuzzy teddy bear. He's so hairy.
Just want to love him. You just want to love him.
Yep.
It's just
He's all
natural.
mine.
Anyways,
Just to be straight, I mean, this Mobile Tech Expo coming up, I was wondering, who's going to go with me. We've just answered that, dude.
Exactly.
You and me, bro. We are there. One bed, one love, my brother. One love.
yeah. Well,
Great.
in all honesty, we've had Ian on before, guys, and he always is a joy to talk to, whether in person or on our podcast. If you go back, you got to probably go back about a year, maybe a year and a half ago, we had Ian on. And, we want to thank you for coming on here. Hudson
Thank you for having
wanted to bring you on for a couple of specific things, which was, exactly what he started off with. If Hudson, you want to continue, so I'll just shut up now.
Yeah. So I called Ian the other day because my suction cup was not acting right. I'm like, Ian, well, who should I call? Oh, I should call Ian. Ian will know all about this. And I was telling him what I was doing, and he was like, "What are you thinking?" I'm like, "Oh crap! I'm glad he's in California and not next to me." And he then properly let me know how to take care of my suction cup. And I realized, you know what? I've been doing this 14 years, and I use a suction cup every freaking day as a door dinger. I should probably know how to take better care of my suction cups.
Yeah.
So Ian is like a mad scientist with this stuff. He has researched all the different brands, how they're made, like all this stuff. And we're like, well, best person to ask is Ian. So Ian, I just want you to just take it away, dude. Tell us everything you can.
Sure.
Like obviously, the number one suction cup in the industry is Woods, right?
Yeah, most people, that's what we've used for years and years. Myself, upwards of that's one of the first cups I used 30 years ago was a Woods cup, and did for many years. Still have several of them on different apparatuses. But there's so many different cup manufacturers out there, and they have kind of put their own little spin, their own type of rubber compound. A lot of them have kind of pushed an emulsion into the rubber to try to make them last longer. And, there's really only one or two companies out there that are making cups that are quote unquote marine grade cups. So they are listed to last in the salt water, take the UV rays like a champ, top and bottom, because a lot of us don't know this. But in the research that I spent, the years of research that I spent on these cups, when you put a cup on a hot panel, there's a lot going on. You're literally cooking, the cup, and if depending on where you live or where you work, no amount of cooling it down, or you just can't cool it down enough. And you're dealing with 140. If you take a temp gun and you put it down on the panel on let's say a 80, 90 degree, let's say a 90 degree day, the surface temperature is upwards of 120 degrees. So when you have a surface temperature of 120 degrees and you're there for, like Hudson, 2 hours on a big long, I'm sorry, I was trying to spin that. No, when you're over there you're on a den for 2 hours, that 2 hours, that cup is, taking the brunt force for at least half an hour of it until, depending on the shade that you're using or shading the panel, it's going to cool it down so that it's workable and not going to be at that temperature. Now, the cups themselves, Woods, they design their cups to eventually fail. They make them super sticky, super tacky at first. That's when you know you have a really good newer Woods Cup.
Ian, hold on 1 second.
What's that?
Hold on 1 second. For the people that don't know, when we say Woods Cup, we're assuming that people know what that is. The Woods Cup is pretty much any cup that you're going to get on any like shade board, line board. The original Limited had the Woods Cup.
It says it on the cup. It says it on the cup, Woods.
Yeah, it says Woods. So when we say Woods Cup, it's the circular cup that has a little pump, like a little PVC pump in it. That is what we're talking about, is the Woods Cup. So before we say it anymore, in case someone doesn't know what we're talking about, we're just talking about your standard. It's like a 3-inch.
Yeah.
Actually, there's a 4.5, and that is the kind of the main cup that everyone's been using for a long time is the 3.5 inch. 4.5 inch, actually 4.5 inch, excuse me, cup is what everyone has been really using for years and years on line boards and stuff. Now the 3-inch is the small round one that a lot of guys have been using with the lock line for outside line boards and things like that. James Lee had it on his Limited lights for a long time until he came with the oval cup that's on there.
Okay, sorry. Continue now. Apologize for that interruption there.
No problem. So you can really differentiate the Woods Cup from it has a outer lip edge on the underside of the cup. That is a secondary suction lip that they keep on there, kind of like a safety awl. When the cup starts to lose its suppleness, when it starts to lose the grip or the real rubbery feel to it, starts to dry out a little bit. The usual downtime on a cup, let's say, out here in California, is about a year and a half, where you start seeing it's not holding as long, and it starts to fail sometimes with different things. But the majority of the time, it's because of the technician not taking the extra 10 seconds. It literally takes 10 seconds to do, and not wiping the panel with your hand because there's still dirt and grime on the car, but actually going over it with a little bit of dry wash. And it doesn't matter what dry wash, but something to break the surface and then wipe it with a rag so that you're starting with a clean surface. So many people, I'm guilty of it myself. We're in a rush or we're starting something and you've already got everything down, and here you go with your suction cup or your Limited light that has the automatic vacuum system on it, and you just put it on the car, and it's going to adhere to it. And if it doesn't have a good adhesion with the dust and everything on it, it's going to suck itself back to the car. But that's not the case with suction cups that don't have that electronic pump to it. Yeah. So maintaining them is key. And the biggest thing to do, keep in mind, the Woods Cup is made to fail. When you call them up and you ask them, is there anything that you can use on these? They do not give you any answer other than, sure, our number to order is, our website is, and it's basically, they just want you to order another one.
Sure.
You can do a couple little things to keep the Woods Cups as nice as possible, as long as you don't let them get to a certain point. Once they're past a certain point, they're all crusty, you start seeing cracks in them and stuff, they're done. You need another one.
Yeah.
But if you say in 6 months, before it starts to get to that point, you take it out and, you might have to go to grandma's house because not many people even know what this is, or they giggle when they hear it. But Vaseline, petroleum jelly, is my go-to and has been. I learned a lot of years ago to keep the Woods Cup as nice as possible. And
that's what you kept with next to your bed when you slept with Daniel, right?
I've actually got a jar in my pocket.
Hey, now this is G-rated. Come on, Hudson. You're Christian.
It's so that I can breathe easy at night. So what you take, like Palmolive is a really good mild dish soap, and you take just ever so slight of a little bit, and you wash the cup top and bottom, trying to keep water out of the piston part of it.
Yeah.
Then you dry it without drying it with a terry cloth. If you use a terry cloth, they have little gnats or things that fall off the cloth and stick to the rubber. So shop rags, the ones that don't have any of the lint or stuff on them, those are the best thing to dry them with. And just pat dry it, kind of clean it up and really visually look to the little spots that are molded on the bottom side of the cup, those are like air ventricles. They're made to lock into where it's sucking to the car. So if there's cuts or gouges in those, especially the outer lip ring that I mentioned at first, more than likely that's going to be the culprit for no matter what you do to this cup, it's going to lose suction and not be like it was brand new. But take that cup that you've washed very mildly, top and bottom, and now that you've patted dry the exterior of it and visually looked at it, you pull the piston on it and you wipe with that rag now the outer ring or the seal to the pump itself.
Which is rubber itself, too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And then you take that petroleum jelly, the Vaseline, and you want to just take a pea-sized bit and put around the outer edge of it. And once you put that in, it will create that seal. And I have had a lot of luck. The one person that it just amazes me with Woods cups is Sal Contreras. That guy has a couple of them that he has been using for, he claims the one I sold him on a Mobile Tech Shade 5 years ago still works great.
Oh, wow.
Like, dude,
that doesn't surprise me because Sal will take like a whole day to dismantle a car to fix a dime-sized dent. So it doesn't surprise me that he probably takes all his Woods cups home and cleans them.
Right, exactly. But now there are other cups that are on the market. I sell a marine cup, which is made by Sea Sucker, and these guys have really figured out the rubber compound. If you look at the rubber, it's totally different. It's not a shiny, sticky type of rubber. It is, it does have a grip to it when you first purchase it, but it's just a different type of rubber. It's a little stiffer. It's actually immersed or emulsified with the special stuff that I give with each cup that I sell. And this is called Lube Tube. And what it is it actually has PTFE. So, suntan lotion has PTFE in it. And that stuff is literally, it's sunblock. So they immerse into the rubber when they make this rubber with this stuff and then put a little bit of this on the piston seal. Now, crazy enough, I've bought so many cups. I just hit the 8,000 unit mark this year for Mobile Tech Shade.
Yeah, and, what's up?
With selling that many cups and dealing with these manufacturers, I noticed about 3 years ago, right after I'd first started with them, and just love their cups. And I have some that are 4 years old and still work like the day I bought them. But I noticed that they stopped giving me the lube tube, and they were like, they sent a letter and they said that it was damaging cars. So I got on the phone and called them and was like, okay, how are they damaging cars? Explain it to me. And he goes, well, it's leaving a ring on the paint. So I immediately, went into, dent repair mode. And I just said, well, you guys post videos of these Ferraris with bike racks driving around a track at 100 miles an hour. These customers with Volkswagens and, cars with 3-stage paint and everything are putting these cup systems on their car and they're leaving them there for days at a time. And these cups, especially these 6-inch cups from Sea Sucker, these are 210 pounds of pull force resistance.
Yeah.
So, when these things adhere to a hot panel and then they sit on there for, 2 to 3 days, they're going to leave a ring. And what's happened is they were blaming it on the lube. So with talking with them and a couple of the scientists that, do it and everything, it was like, that's not what it is. Actually, the cup is what's doing it. So once we got past that, they actually brought it back out and now they're doing it again. But what this stuff does is absolutely amazing with the Sea Sucker cup. Same method to clean your cup, and I would recommend every 6 months to do this, just to kind of keep it in your head. You got to clean your Illuminant light, or you got to, take care of your products. I'm constantly on my son for that. But the cups, 6 months, you pull it out, you wash it really mildly, and then you pull the piston out right here, And when you pull this piston out, you'll notice it has that little seal, and you can actually see this is a new cup, and it's actually dry. It really doesn't have much on it.
Yeah.
So what I'll do is I'll take this lube, and I'll take just a little bit, right there.
That's a lot. That's not
zip pop in there.
Geez. Easy. You're not in the room with Daniel.
Yeah.
You know? And what I'll do is I'll just keep like a little film, and I'll turn this on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it'll look just like that. See if you can see that. You can see how I have a nice little.
So he's got a thin layer all the way around the little sealer.
Put this back in, and then you take another pea-size dot and put it on the outside of the cup.
Can you show me that again? Pull out the plunger.
Here's this.
Okay.
The plunger will stop it. It wants to stick, but you get it to a certain spot and it'll pop out.
Hold it right there. A little bit higher. Okay. Carry on.
Got it?
Yep.
Oh,
So
gosh.
once you place this back into the cup, get it back in there. Now
Do you need to turn that
seal on here, but you also want to make sure that you put a little bit on the exterior. So you see this in the picture here.
You put on the exterior of your cup.
Yes. And this is every 6 months. Okay. And then I'll take on the bottom side of my cup and I'll put a nice little pea-sized dot. And then right before you go to bed, when you're tucking Danny into bed, you take this and you just knead it in and you kind of work it in all the little veins and everything, and then leave it out on a shelf. Same thing with this. And you leave it out on a shelf overnight. And in the morning, you take that same rag that now should be dry, as long as somebody didn't use it for something else, and you wipe the whole cup down and clean it up. This thing will work even better than the day that you bought it. And every guy that I've had, almost every guy that I've had that has purchased one of these that has ever had an issue with the suction, year into it, a year and a half into it, they go, it's weird because the woods kind of gives you a little bit of time where it'll start losing, power over time. But this one just automatically, it just stopped working. And they do this. And in the morning they call me and they go, dude, that's amazing. That thing works incredible. Now you're going to have a little teeny bit, like when they're brand new, of a haze that it kind of leaves on the paint surface. You take that same dry wash, you give it one wipe, it's gone. It doesn't harm the paint at all, but that is the best way to maintain your sea sucker cups or your wood cups, in my opinion, without having to pay a bunch of money, because you get the lube tube for free from me when you buy one. And you also can just go rob grandma's house for her Vaseline.
So let me ask you this. So James Lee, he makes his own suction cups, right?
I don't.
So they're hot dog shaped. They're more of
the elongated ones. Yeah, he purchases them. He purchases them from a manufacturer. I could be wrong, but from what I was told, they're still sourced from a company to get the cups. And his have a film that they come with, and literally you wipe that film. It's almost like a creosote spray that they spray on the top side and underside of the cup when you first get one of those luminant lights. You're like, dude, what is this stuff? And it kind of peels off.
It's kind of white.
Gently, yeah, it's like white. That's almost like a spray to keep the cup as nice as possible as soon as you go to use it.
And how does his suction cups rate to your marine ones?
Actually, his cups are good. His cups are great. The one thing I have noticed is, with the pump, virtually no matter what, no matter what cup you use, if you have some kind of electronic suction cup apparatus adhered to it, you're going to know right off the bat that it's losing suction because it's going to burp every once in a while. So I've had the same light now since MTE, and it works great, with that cup. But I haven't really had any issues with it.
Well, what you're saying is making me making a lot of sense, because like I have one light that I only use in the shop. When I'm working next to a windshield or something like that, I'll throw that on there. But I don't use it that often, but it's always used inside. The cars are cool. You know, there's no heat situation. Then I have another light that's in my car. That's my mobile light.
Right.
And that one gets a little bit more abuse. It doesn't get used all that often because most of my work is inside, but, or inside the shop. And, but I bought some stuff on the internet years ago because I tried to take care of my stuff a long time ago. I was trying to do the same thing you're talking about, but you've dived into it a little bit more than I did. And I bought some stuff that was kind of like what you're talking about, and I would rub it all over the suction cup and it would renew it.
Right.
But I agree with you because a black car, if you put a thermometer on a black car on a hot day, it'll be 215 degrees.
Right.
That's hot for a suction cup. And it will, you know, like you say, cook the rubber.
It just pulls out of the rubber all the
oils.
The oils that are in that rubber whatsoever, but dries it out completely. And you can't, because it's rubber, it's water resistant, and you can't push. But with this Sea Sucker cup, they've done something to where this stuff literally soaks into the cup. It soaks into it and keeps it like new. So you do that every 6 months and clean them up. Your cups, I mean, they last for a long time. The only thing you got to, keep in mind is being gentle with it, not, banging it on the ground and stuff like that. Other than that, I mean, they're just big cups, man. The suction that they put out is it's really second to none. And
one thing to remember too, because I had to go through this when I had to do a lot of R&D with my mat, with my Magnatech mat, which is silicone based, it comes from rubber. A lot of us throw our products in the back of a truck, and it's decompartmentalized, right? It's in a box. It's baking in a box. There's no air getting to it. Depending on where you're located, it could be like well over 200 degrees with no airflow in the back of your truck over a weekend where you're not working, and it's just sitting in there and baking away, and it's just breaking down that rubber substance. And that's one of the reasons.
Some of the handles that we've had on our tools for years,
exactly.
Dude. I mean, those have been in the back, and those things are just, that stuff is just peeling off tools, over a few years. It's the same concept.
Yeah.
And those days that you get to your car, been raining for a month or so, and now you go and grab your Magnatech Mac, or you go and you grab your suction cup, and you're like, man, this thing is all nice. And it's because you got moisture, sitting in the back of your vehicle, but it will also create mold. And the mold will eat rubber. It will eat stuff on your stuff. So that's another thing. That's a great point. I totally forgot to mention is, you have to make sure that you keep your stuff clean, and anything that has rubber, silicone, any of that stuff, that mold will get around it. And, from whatever you spill polish on it or whatever, and it's sat there for 6 months, and that stuff will literally eat into a suction cup and just ruin it. There's no saving it.
Well, the other thing to remember too is in all these suction cups, they have a filter, and especially
not Sea Sucker.
Okay. Well, like especially the automatic pumps. Mm-hmm. That little filter is super, super important. Right. You lose that, you can screw up the motor and stuff like that. So you got to keep that clean. Mm-hmm. The best thing to do really is if you can wrap that thing up every time you throw it in your car, I think, you tell me if I'm wrong, but somehow keeping that thing clean for when you're storing it would be a good idea. The cover that comes with it.
Everybody gets
the ones that we throw away. That thing.
And most people, when they go to use it, it's just a habit. I know I'm guilty of it. I go and I pop this thing off, I use it, and then it gets thrown somewhere, and it's like, oh man, that thing's in my way, and it gets thrown in the trash or whatever. But if you do want to keep your cups nice, use the little base that comes with them. They last forever.
Got it. Okay, good one.
That's the way to do it.
Good to know.
Well,
that was like way more than I thought we were going to learn about suction cups. That was good, and man.
These sort of instructions work for all of them, right?
It doesn't. That's the thing is, each cup manufacturer has produced their own, their own rubber compound. You look at the cups themselves. In fact, Give me a second. I'll show you the difference between the two. I got wood and I've got sea sucker here, and I will show you the difference.
You know what a good example of this is I bought some weights, and I bought some cheap rubber. They're rubber coated weights from China. And if you walk into Harbor Freight, that's the smell that you're smelling, is that cheap Chinese rubber. And I had these weights in my room when this was years ago, and I put them on the carpet. And literally a day later, I pick up the weights and I look at the carpet, and it stained the carpet.
Yeah.
And it was all the oils that are in that smell that like Harbor Freight. Yep. And that cheap rubber, they just don't have the compound right, or whatever it is. I don't know what it is, but
it breaks down.
Ian, show us the difference of this, and then we're going to get moving on to the next subject, because this is what happens when you talk to someone who is so invested in their product and bringing, high quality tools to the market for us dent guys. This is where
we're geeking out on rubber, huh?
Yeah. This is where I think a lot of guys are like, man, why are these tools so expensive?
Just like that night we stayed together, buddy. Yeah. All right. Hey, so here's the see if I can get it just in the right light. So
okay,
this is woods. Okay,
I see that. So wait, hold on. So with woods, it looks like we've got a plus symbol with one circle around it.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
Do you notice how the difference in the veins and the actual crosshairs in the cup?
Yep.
But
okay.
not just that, but the actual rubber. Do you see how it has a darker tint?
Yes.
You see how it's actually it's almost like it's not as smooth or as glassy as it's.
Okay.
What happens is, because they put so much woods, because they put so much of that stuff into their cup and make it to where it's super tacky. When you see the smooth film like this, that's to try to keep it inside the cup. Well, what happens is now it's like impermeable. So it's the surface of it's super slick. And once it goes bad, it's pretty much done. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the difference with the Sea Sucker cup, is it has a little bit of a grain to the rubber itself. So when you put that stuff on, I just barely wiped this just a minute ago. Now, it has that tackiness like the woods has, and you can keep putting it back into the cup, and it actually adheres into it, and it's UV resistant.
That's awesome. Ian, thank you for giving us more information than we could ever want about suction cups.
You asked for it, buddy.
Absolutely. I love it. I love it. And that, like I said, I was about to go on my little rant, and I was going to say, for people that don't get it, tool manufacturers go above and beyond more than we could ever realize when it comes to making their tools. Right? Like, we don't see all the research and development.
That's why his product stands out better than anybody else.
Well, thank you, buddy. I appreciate that.
So whenever we go and I hear people complain about the price of tools, I give a big eye roll and I say, have you made a tool? No, you haven't. So shut up.
Patented it or go onto the shows with it, or we can go on and on.
Yeah. So
send it my way.
You guys just heard Ian go on for how long about suction cups? Apply that to all other types of tools, guys. So Ian, thank you so much for coming on and giving us all.
Thanks for having me.
Where are we finding you, Ian? Where are we finding your products?
Oh,
I know where I'm finding it, but yeah, go.
MobileTechShade.com. We've got rain or shine, simply the best, and that's MobileTechShade.com. Now, Anson is also a distributor of these, and then you can also go to James Lee. You also go to Limited.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Nice.
Now, are you going to be at MTE?
Whoa.
Yeah.
MTE.
Yes, I'm going. I really after the whole Vegas, the COVID thing, and I am so busy. I was like, man, I'd really like to take a vacation other than having to work and throw a little vacation in the middle of guys, what I'm talking about. And it's like, because boy, not going to the Vegas one. I mean, I know it was kind of nice. It really was kind of nice. I was able to do another vacation and do a 3,600 mile motorcycle ride. So
that's awesome.
I'd like to do another one of those, but I will be there. I will
awesome. Well, we'll see you there, Ian. Thanks for coming on.
Staying together, and I'm counting on that.
All right, guys. Thank you, Ian.
Thanks, Ian.
Have a good night.
You too, man.
Seeing you again, brother.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
So that's awesome. It's always fun talking to Ian. He's a great guy, and we've known him for years, and he's just one of those good dudes.
Always positive.
And I tell you, that was a lot of information. Vince and I were trying to scramble and keep as many notes as we possibly could. We're going to get those put up into the show notes, kind of wrote out those instructions. We'll see if we can keep them straight for the difference between the Woods Cup and the Sea Sucker Cup.
Yeah. My favorite notes that y'all put in here was call Uber Eats and get Daniel a shot of espresso. That's my favorite notes here in the show.
Yeah. So it's sleepy time for Daniel. It's sleepy
Nap time.
I sleep 4 hours a night. I have insomnia.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Anyways,
well, gentlemen,
all right. What's the next topic? We had something else we were going to cover, or we?
Yeah, we have something else we wanted to talk about.
Okay.
And I don't know how deep we can get into it, how much time we have left. It might be something we come back to.
We got about 5 to 10 minutes. We could touch on it. Yeah, we could always.
We'll touch on it. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to touch on it a little bit, and then we would love to hear you comment in the Tool Time Facebook page how you approach this issue. We would love to hear from you. Guys, we don't know everything. We know a little bit about everything, but we don't know everything.
Well, wait a second. I know everything.
Oh, dear.
No, you don't.
There was a good.
So,
oh, man.
I know a little bit about a lot of things.
Okay, what is it?
So here's what I
Tell
want
us.
to talk about.
Yeah, come on, get on.
Okay. I'm getting there. Metallic flop.
Oh,
You have a sharp dent on a silver panel or a metallic blue or any type of metallic.
Gold.
The ones with the really
Gold.
fine.
Yes,
Fine,
really
like
fine metallic. It's a sharp dent. You can only get a sharp tool on it, pretty much, like only a small tool. You guys all know what I'm talking. We've all had that scenario where, and it's one of those things where I still don't have a game plan for it. I see a dent under a brace. I got a game plan. A dent underneath a mirror. I've got a game plan for all these different dents. Every time I have a sharp dent on metallic, my game plan changes because I feel if I use heat, that might make it push too quick and make that metallic flop, right? But if I don't use heat, I'm afraid it's so sharp that it's going to crack the paint. Right?
So I think it starts with customer evaluation. So you have to evaluate your customer, and if they're older, you're good. If they're younger, you're bad.
Oh man.
Okay, John, shut up, Daniel. John's got actually real
knowledge.
What were you saying?
Now, it's been a long time since I've had this happen, but for me, when I have that sharp dent on a fine mica rig, man, I'm finding a way to get some sort of blunt tool into it, whether I have to disassemble. We've discussed taking the whale tail and putting that old piece of toll cut on it so you're not pushing so sharp.
Yeah.
I find, and man, I'm trying to think of the last time I had that metallic flop, and it's been a super long time.
I'm with you, John, because I think I've taken precautions to prevent it. Because I know a lot of guys, they like to use sharp tools on a sharp dent to start it off and just pick the center out. I chose not to do that because there was one time, and Daniel, you could relate to this, on 100-year anniversary Harley tank. Yeah. It goes from that fine metallic on the top, and then you have that pinstripe, and then it goes black down below. Well, I was freaking out because I'm like, I got this dent out, and it was right on that metallic in the transition, and I freaking glassed the thing from my perspective, and then I went and looked at it when I went to go, inspect it, and it totally flopped on me. And I'm like, holy crap, this guy is going to kick the living crap out of me. I just defaced his woman, right?
Yeah.
And so I had to try and figure out a way. There was no way of saving it at that point, and he was fine, and I'd left that. But at that point, it always bothered me to this day. And that was probably about 15 years ago that happened to me. And it
tends to happen more on motorcycles for me. And because thicker metal, and because of the roundness of it, you don't sometimes see it. You just don't see it until you look at a different angle than what you're working on. And all of a sudden it shows up.
Yeah. It freaked me out enough at that point to try and figure out, and don't get me wrong, it happened to me many times throughout the years. But like what John was saying is I tend to try and go a mid-sized tip before I'll use a sharp tip or soft tip. If soft tip's not going to work to start it off, then I'll do mid-size. But I won't start off a sharp dent with a sharp tool. I just won't do it because of that.
The one that sticks out for me was the roof of a Honda, blue metallic. Fixed this monster hail dent in the center of it. This was years ago, same as you, Vince. And I was using a sharp tip, I think a number 1 Dentcraft tip to fix this whole monster dent. And I glassed the dent, and the customer comes back 2 days later and he's like, man, I looked outside and the center of my roof is a different color. And we went out there and we're looking and we can't see it. And he's like, well, maybe it was just a figment of my imagination. What it was I flopped the metallics on that thing. And right at sundown,
you can see it
at that exact level, about the time that the cliff face pops in the red, it would be this red dot. He came to the shop like 3 days later after he figured out that he had to be right there, and he gets there a little bit early, and then he's like, all right, wait for it. Bam. And we get this red, and we all laughed.
Come over, look at it.
Yeah. That's magic, man. Congratulations.
Yeah. I'm like, I didn't even charge extra for that. But
that's called the pot of gold.
Okay,
You're
hold on.
lucky to get that.
Before we go forward, I think we made a vital error here and talk when we say flop and what that means. Some people might not understand what we're saying.
All right, guy, let's all give our own definition unless someone nails it.
Yeah. A flop is where whenever the paint is sprayed onto the vehicle at the factory, all the metallic is reflecting light the same way. You have made such sharp pushes inside that dent that it has forced the metallic to reflect light differently, so that it is the same color, but it looks different because you're now forcing the metallic flake to reflect differently than it did at the factory.
Well, we should probably split that up just a little bit, because there's actually not a whole lot of metallic flake that's used these days. They're almost all micas that are used today. And metallic, it was literally small chunks of metal, like ultra fine shavings of metals that were put in. And depending upon the size of your gun, it's also known as metallic shift because you are physically realigning either the mica chips or the metallic chips with that sharp tip. Yeah. So just like Hudson said, you can go from them laying down from how they shot out of the gun to standing upright, and that changes the way the light reflects on them, which changes the complete color.
Which actually, if you go into your body shops, guys, and go talk and spend a little time with your painter, he'll show you a lot of stuff, why it looks like it does, why they have a hard time matching silver paints and things like that. And it has to do with that, that mica, that tiny,
air pressure sometimes.
And it
affects their color.
Yeah. And, it's cool because I know we carried PPG EnviroBase and we had 86 toners within that. And the metallics, if you look at it, there's a fine metallic, there's a medium metallic, there's a lentil metallic, there's this metallic, and there's all these different types of coarse. There's coarse, there's fine, there's medium, there's all sorts of stuff. So, if you guys are bored or, it's a rainy day, go and you're at your body shop, go and talk to your painter and learn some of this stuff, because it really is fascinating, and it does definitely affects our PDR.
So we've talked about what you can do about it is protect your tip, try to do a dull tip. I actually was working on a dent today where I had to wedge a tool right into the edge. So the inner panel came in on itself. And so I was wedging the tool, and I was using a blunt tool. It was a blunt shaved tip, and I was twisting, but when I twisted it made a sharp dent, even though that tool was very blunt, and there's no putting anything on it to protect it. But it was still making a very sharp kind of teat on that and shifting that metallic. It was a older Toyota, and the paint was horrible. Mm-hmm. It was dry, really, really dry, but it was that pewter metallic color.
Oh yeah.
And it was shifting the things or the metallics, and there's no way to get around it. And the only thing I could do is just make my pattern super, super tight. as tight as and condensed as possible and even as possible. And it turned out okay. Luckily, I had on the estimate, a 95% repair. So it gave me a little bit of room. And I also knew the guy was a much older guy. That's why I brought it that later. And so I was all worried about it. I was stressing about it, and it looked pretty good, but it was textury. And I pulled it outside, and I go, come out and take a look at it. And that's when I shut up. I don't say a word, and I just wait for their reaction so I can react to their reaction. And he comes out and he goes, wow, that looks great. Yes, it does. I'm off to the races, and we're good.
Oh, man.
And I know, Hudson, you brought it up for a reason. You were working on a body line dent that it shifted on you. And I do find that's one of those areas that you are more susceptible to it. There's certain colors, like a BMW, where you have a finer metallic, you're more susceptible to it. You put those two combinations together, a body line on a silver BMW, and you're gonna have some issues.
Yeah. So like I don't have issues nowadays. I got to a point in my career where if I can put a soft tip on it and I can take it slow and put heat on it, I'm fine. It's whenever, like, I had a rear quarter panel 911 on the body line. If anyone's ever worked on a 911 rear quarter panel, it's virtually impossible to get back there. All you can get into it is shaved tools. So adding some tape to it, if you add tape to it, you're not getting the dent. You're not going to get the tool to the dent, right? So it's one of those things where the only thing that I've been able to do is just like be as patient as possible and make just the smallest, most minute, small pushes. You cannot rush it. I mean, you have to quadruple your repair time.
Yep. On that, man, I have my light sitting right on top so I can try to see the finest of pushing.
Yes, exactly. As close as I can get the light as possible. I want to see it.
Yeah, you can't rush that kind of repair. You got to be really careful, really small pushes,
precision,
and a lot of them.
Yeah.
But let's go ahead. Let's throw that out here and let's revisit this topic next week a little bit after we let's get some feedback. What are you guys doing to try to prevent that metallic flop or metallic shift in those super tight areas where you
to recap, you protect your tip, you do micro pushes, and you do a lot of them and tighten your pattern. There's kind of
if you do screw up, Daniel, if you do make that flop, you can kind of make it a little bit better by making a bunch of micro pushes close together. Is that what you're saying?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll have to test that out. And speaking of test it out, we got to make a correction. I gave a tech tip, and
that's right.
John tried it out, and I guess I didn't explain it well. Okay. Or I hyped it up too much. It was talking about the denim pad, right?
Yep.
So just so we know, when I was saying it does not remove cracks in the paint, it seals the cracks in the paint, which means you're still going to see where the cracks were, but they are no longer going to open up on you. So
you're leveling the paint. That's what you're doing.
Yeah, we're leveling it. But what I was making, the way I explained it, it could have come across as this gets rid of cracks completely. That's not what I mean.
Well, when you say seal it, it makes it sound like you can heal that crack and melt it back together. And that's not technically
kind of gives that impression when you look at it, though. So I get where he's going with that.
Yeah, like I would feel comfortable like if I had a paint crack and then I put the denim pad and heated it up and let it cool down, I would feel comfortable glue pulling on top of that personally. Vince would.
I glue pulled the dent out, and we had a crack in the bottom of the paint, and we glue pulled it all the way up. And then I hit it with the denim pad, and then I glue pulled on it some more just to try to see. And yeah, no matter what I did, it was on a F-150. So it was already cracked when it got hit between the door and the windshield. I beat the hell out of it. It never opened up, but I'm like, all right, we're going to melt this puppy back together and see if it melts together like Hudson said. And no, we went completely Sex Panther with that thing. 60% of the time it works 100% of the time. But it just kind of leveled it off. You couldn't feel the crack, but the crack was still there if we put a down light on it. Yes.
And so that I just wanted to read it. John, thank you so much for bringing that to my attention. Yeah, I it does not completely get rid of it, but I do feel that it kind of seals that clear coat up so that it's not going to be as bad.
Keeps it tight.
Yeah.
It keeps
Won't hook anything. All
So,
right.
guys, I think
what
that
Vince?
brings us-
What Vince?
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, hey, before we shut down, make sure you guys know that the Toys for Tots is coming up December 5th at Anson. It'll be the last.
What do we got to do? Do we got to bring a toy?
You got to bring a toy to donate to the children's shelter. That's all.
Okay.
That's all. And come in fellowship with your fellow deck guys. And then on the 7th, if you're not
gonna be there? Is Santa gonna be there?
Santa's going to be there. Yeah, on
Santa?
Saturday.
Santa?
It's from 10 to 2. 10 to 2. So it's not going to
I
be a
know
whole day.
him. I know him.
I've met him before.
I'm friends with him.
Okay. You're more in than I am, I guess. and then I have the IMI class on Monday. So any of you guys that are sticking around, I'm going to do the IMI class. It's the first one since COVID started. So, looking forward to that, guys. I just wanted to throw that out there. Anything else going on? There was a tech meetup. In Branson, Missouri.
Branson.
Yep.
how'd that
PDR
go?
World Cup did a tech meetup.
They did a tech meetup. And we had Trey on and
We'll have to call them and see how it went next week.
yeah, I actually got the lowdown, so it was good. It wasn't a big turnout, but it was about 15 to 20 technicians that showed up. It was freezing cold at 43 degrees, and they had a good time. So
Wait,
they had
how
some
cold was
fellowship.
it?
Like 43. 43 is pretty cold to be sitting out in the parking lot.
Yep.
So
This is true.
Be.
Well, gentlemen, it's been a pleasure.
yes,
All right, guys. Remember, level up your suction cups and your lube.
Don't do stupid stuff like sleep with Ian Cordle.
Embrace the crazy lube.
and make sure you do not keep it stiff if you're sharing a bed with Ian Cordell. All right. Or then again, you probably were stiff the whole time as a board. Like, don't touch me.
We've gone downhill. All right. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
Have a great week.
See ya.
Make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with all the industry and tool-related news every week.
Visit AnsonPDR.com for the largest selection of just about all your PDR tools, where you'll find hog glue and hog tabs,